I remember just thinking to myself, like, yo, I was like ready for Ashton Kutcher to come out because I really felt like I was on punked. And it just didn't make sense to me, like how much bad stuff was happening. And it wasn't even like it was like, okay, like a misfortune here or there. It was like detrimental stuff that actually like killed a person's spirit, like killed their mood, killed everything about them, like to the point where like I didn't want to live at a point because the stuff that was going on back to back to back to back to back was, I was like, no, like this is not normal. Like I really thought it was a joke, like it had to be. I was ready for like God to send like a miracle. Like after he put me through all of that, I was ready for a miracle and I didn't get it. So it was like, it was a very, experiencing that stuff was very traumatic. And it was the start of a downward spiral that really like took me out of myself. Like I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't even know. I was just questioning, like, why am I even here in the first place? Like, why am I even here? Like, it hurt that bad, and it brought up other things that I had buried. So experiencing like betrayal and stuff like that brought up old stuff and the new stuff, and it mushed them all together because I didn't know how to deal with the new stuff and I didn't want to deal with the old stuff. So that combination was kind of like, yeah, no, it was like a terrible, terrible time for me. So just to recap from the previous episodes, basically at this current time, I was staying with friends here and there. Other days I'll be like, I felt like I was being such a burden, so I would like just drive around. I would spend the night in my car or like whatever, like wherever I could go at the time, and wherever like I felt more comfortable. And I was basically just living life like on the move because I didn't really have like a place to be. And I was still going through the motions of like, wow, like my mom betrayed me, my dad betrayed me, my best friend betrayed me, like, the person who I was with as a partner betrayed me. Everybody just betrayed me because it was like, me as a person, I would never, I could never see somebody going through that was close to me, and some person that I said that I loved, and they were just like out in the world like that. And I felt so like just vulnerable and out there and things like that. And in making this episode and this topic of betrayal, I made sure I did my research simply because it was, I wanted to make sure that the message was efficient. And with me, to do that, it's education and knowledge and actually real definitions of what things are. So basically, I looked up the word betrayal. And the first thing that popped up was to leave one exposed. And I was just like, when I read that, I was like, what? I was like, this is exactly how I feel. Like, I've been totally exposed to a world that I'm not even supposed to be experiencing. I'm experiencing homelessness. I'm experiencing not having money. I'm experiencing not being able to talk to anybody. I'm experiencing all these things that it's like just at the hands of a person or people betraying me. And to go further, it also gives definitions of disloyalty, and my favorite part was to be unfaithful in guarding and maintaining and fulfilling. When I read that, I was like, oh, thanks. It was almost like that's exactly how I was feeling. Like, I'm young, I'm out there trying to do what I thought I should be doing, which was going to school, working if need be, things of that nature, just being like, okay, like setting myself up for success in the future. And little did I know that just because I felt that way doesn't mean that everybody else felt that way. And reading that, and I'm thinking of my parents, I'm thinking of my friends, I'm thinking of my partners, I'm thinking of people who said they would mentor me and things of that nature. And I'm like, wow, y'all was really unfaithful in guarding and maintaining and fulfilling something that you told me was what I was supposed to be doing. So, it's like you planted the seed, but you're not watering it. Like, you're actually making the environment a harsh environment for me to even grow. I almost felt like there was a deception, which is also part of the definition that I looked up for betrayal. There was a deception there where I felt that, these people were supposed to be for me. I felt like they were supposed to pick me up when I fell. And they made it seem so, like, oh, I'll always be there for you. And, don't worry, like, you'll never go through anything alone. And you deceived me, because when I came knocking, or when I called, or when I sent a text message, you were nowhere to be found. And people really don't understand that once a person feels betrayed, it's almost like they second guess you. And then not only are they second guessing you, they're second guessing themselves. Like, now, okay, like, who do I trust? I can't trust them. Can't even trust myself because I can't get myself out this situation. So it was very, very, very hard for me to deal with, on top of what I was already dealing with. To bring things current now, like I said, I was bouncing from place to place, and sometimes I felt like I was being a burden to people, so I would get in my car and I would just pretty much just drive, park somewhere safe, fall asleep, then get up and do whatever I needed to do and things like that. Well, there was one particular night where I was coming from the pharmacy. I was buying something from the pharmacy, and I was driving, and I got pulled over. And I was like, ugh, like, what I get pulled over for now? Like, I know that my insurance is paid and everything like that, and I know I'm good, so I'm just trying to figure out what the problem is. Anyway, so I get pulled over, and he tells me basically I got stopped for a minor traffic violation, I think, for not putting my signal on to switch lanes. And he asked me to step out the car. So, I'm thinking in my head, okay, Candace, you have nothing to worry about. I'm mad, kind of, because I'm like, why am I even doing this? I'm just I'm annoyed. I want to be able to park my car and go to sleep, and I'm being stopped, and it's just disrupting me more than what I had already been. Anyways, to make a long story short, I was sexually assaulted by that officer. And, at the time when it happened, I was just in that moment, I was just you're frozen. With any abuse, you're you don't know what to think in the moment. So, he left, we went our ways, and I drove off, and I parked my car, and I cried. I cried because I just could not understand why the people who were supposed to protect me, i.e. parents, family, friends, officers, are supposed to protect you. Why all these people are betraying my trust. I didn't get it. I didn't understand what the problem was. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. I just couldn't understand the series of events that was taking place. And when that happened, it also brought up past abuse. So now I have to go back in my head. That's just what it triggered. Now I'm going back to the sexual assault and the physical assault and abuse that I dealt with, in childhood. Plus now being grown and dealing with it. And it was just like, okay, if this is not the ultimate betrayal, I don't know what is. I really don't know what is. So basically what it caused, like I said, just a downward spiral of like my emotions, me being able to control my emotions, me being able to control my thoughts. That was like a big thing, because going through that, it did lead to depression. It led to thoughts of suicide, because I was just like, yo, this cannot be life. Like that was my actual feeling of like, this literally can't be life. Like I can't be going, like no one person is going to be able to manage the amount of trauma, the amount of tragedy, the amount of annoyances, the amount of just everything bad that was going on. I'm like, no, one person cannot handle this. Like, especially a person who's just like who's immature in their growth, and like, like they're just starting off like their path in life. Like no person will be able to handle all of this. And it caused me to be paranoid all the time. I didn't get any sleep. I was in constant distress. Like I couldn't concentrate on anything. There was a point in time where I didn't eat for 2 weeks straight. I mean, I lost so much weight. Aside from the fact that I didn't have the money to eat, I just didn't have the interest to eat. It affected me that much. And again, I just think that betrayal was such, like, not a turning point, but it had such a great impact on my behavior for the next couple years, because it took a toll on me. Like I was just tired. Like I said, I wasn't getting any sleep or anything like that. But because people also don't understand that betrayal takes away everything. It takes away your foundation. It takes away your trust. It takes away your ability to be optimistic, because you're like, yo, if I can't trust my own blood, or if I can't trust the person that I'm sleeping with, or if I can't trust, myself to even control my own thoughts and not think about killing myself and not think about being depressed and stuff like that, who can I really trust? So it put me, like, I was just constantly living life, like just on the edge. Like, do I jump? Do I not jump? Okay, I'm gonna jump because I can't take this anymore. No, I'm not gonna jump because I'm strong enough to do this. But it was a constant battle. And again, I was upset with God, because I'm like, God, like, what did I do? Or what did I do? Like, I started thinking about like all the things, and like, I was a good kid. I did my chores. I listened to my parents. I was thinking about all that stuff because I couldn't figure out why I felt like I was being picked on. Like, I felt like I was being bullied by the universe, by God. I just felt like all things like were just working against me. And I was like, God, if you want me to be closer to you, and if you want me to be in tune with you and hear you clearly and things like that, this ain't the way to do it, bro. Like, this is not the way to do it. You can't throw me out into the world and allow all this stuff to happen to me and then be like, still trust me. Hello? No, that's not gonna work. Like, absolutely not. So, moving a little bit forward, it was very hard. I went through a phase, aside from everything that I was doing, it was very hard for me to, how would you say? It was very hard for me to have tunnel vision. And because I didn't have tunnel vision, like, my mind would wander. And one important thing that I want to make sure I say, because I feel like I'm not the only one who may go through it or may think the same thing. I think other people may have the same thoughts, especially with people who may have experienced similar things that I have, like is revenge. Now, I didn't get revenge on anybody, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, as much as I went through, I did not have that type of heart to seek revenge on anybody. There was multiple things that I could have done to ruin people. There's multiple things that I could have said to ruin people or to make people mad or to get back at them. There's a whole bunch of things that I could have not done, and my absence of not doing something could have hurt somebody. But God was like, nah, you're not about that life. You do not have that type of heart. There's no revenge. Revenge is not yours. Revenge is mine. I will vindicate you for whatever has happened. I will take care of it. And in my head and in my car sometimes I'll be like, nah, I want to get this person back. Nah, and I was just like so angry. That was that rage that I talked about in the previous episode. Like, nah, everybody about to get it. Like, that's how I felt. But no matter, there would be times where I'm actually about to follow through with a thought in my head, like, I'm about to ruin this person. I'm about to make this person feel like how I felt. And God would just, it will tug at my heart, like, you just don't have that type of heart. And that was a struggle. It was a big, big struggle, because I'm like, God, let me do me. Like, you've been doing all this other stuff. Like, let me do me. Let me be mad. Let me get my revenge. And that was a pivotal point in my walk with God, because I had always had to be a fighter. And God was saying, chill, shorty, like, just chill. Like, I got you. And I'm like, nah, no, we about to get it now. Like, where this person live? Where they work? And God is like, calm down. Like, calm down, sis. Like, I'll take care of it. And that was, even till this day, I've gotten better, because of course it's been, a long time, and I've been on this walk for quite some time. And now that I'm older, I understand. And even to the point where when somebody does something to me, I just say, okay. And sometimes even immediately, because sometimes it doesn't happen immediately, but if God really wants to show me something, like, and he knows like how my heart is feeling inside, like again, like, this person really, really did me dirty, they betrayed me. Sometimes his wrath is instant, his revenge is instant. And I had to learn that on this walk, like, yes, people are going to talk about you. People are going to betray you. Hell, they betrayed Jesus. Like, people are not going to want to see you do good. People are going to be mad at the fact that you're even resilient. People are going to be mad at just that. And meanwhile, you're going through so much, and they're mad at the fact that you're able to bounce back. How are people mad at your resilience? Anyway, but betrayal was like a really hard thing that I had to deal with, because again, I have the heart where I would do anything for you, especially, if I care about you a lot. I would never want to see you fall. I never want to see you in distress. I never want to see you have to suffer, especially at the hands of something that you can't control, or at the hands of somebody else that was coming up against you. And it was a huge thing. It also, again, I'm just going to bring this up again, it also just was a teaching thing. Like, don't let your thoughts like overtake you, because during that time, like I said, like when I was sexually assaulted by the officer, it triggered all the stuff that I had suppressed before. And it was like, just my mind was like everywhere. And it was a battle. Like it was a battle. Like, betrayal will really make you like lose yourself. And I did. I lost myself. I really, really did. you know, it caused a lot of things like that I would have never thought that I would even think of. Killing myself, being depressed, having crazy anxiety attacks where I'm not sleeping for days and things like that. So, you know, it was a very important thing because it taught me a lot. It taught me that, listen, you're going to have to control your thoughts. You're going to have to control your emotions. You can't get overwhelmed and things like that. So I would say being betrayed helped me the most. Is one of the things that helped me the most in my walk with God. And, you know, people say like let your anger fuel you, you know, to do better and things like that. I mean, it fueled me, but it didn't fuel me to do better things. It fueled me and made me mad. But it was one of the things that truly just turned my life upside down to the point where I had to, at some point in time, get my life together. But yeah, so, yep. Hey, you guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Betrayal. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you took something from it. And please stay tuned for next week's episode, which will be covering resentment. What I need from you is a big favor. It'll make me happy. Thank you. Is to follow Scene Movement on Instagram and on Facebook, as well as following Misfits Arise on Instagram and Facebook. They sponsor this video. So please stay tuned for next week's episode.